Good evening and welcome to Friday's edition of the Regional News. I am Antoine. We begin with news in the region. The CARICOM Private Sector Organization warns that the U.S. decision to increase Trinidad and Tobago's reciprocal tariff rate from 10% to 15% could severely impact the economy, already the most exposed within the CARICOM. CPSO CEO Dr. Patrick Antoine noted that this increase heightens potential losses in vital sectors and undermines the historic trade relationship with the US. He emphasized that these new tariffs erode the preferential access that has long supported economic ties with the US, accelerating the negative effects on CARICOM's trade position. Antoine said that the America First policy and the April imposition of reciprocal tariffs were the wake-up call for the region, and that this latest adjustment to the 15% is a signal of need for rapid, coordinated action to safeguard competitiveness. The CPSO noted that before the April 9 tariff of 10% was imposed, CARICOM member states had duty-free access to the US market under the CBI. Following this 15% tariff, which took effect on August 7, shortly after Trinidad and Tobago was assigned the 10% baseline rate as part of the America First trade policy. CPSO projects potential annual export revenue losses for Trinidad and Tobago to reach $291.9 million US dollars, increased from $194.6 million US dollars on the previous rate. The projected losses highlight a significant disparity between Trinidad and Tobago and other CARICOM states. Over two-thirds of these estimated losses are expected in the base metals sector and chemicals, with the base metals largely consisting of various iron and steel products used in the U.S. construction, automotive, and manufacturing industries. The chemicals category includes products such as anhydrous ammonia, methanol, and urea, which are critical inputs for fertilizer production, plastics, and other industrial processes. The CPSO said that together these exports from Trinidad and Tobago anchor the country's industrial capacity and also feed into U.S. supply chains that rely on competitively priced raw materials. The CPSO stated that the additional 5% compounded onto the 10% announced in April will significantly challenge the export competitiveness and foreign exchange earnings of many micro and small exporters in Trinidad and Tobago. Continuing with news in the region, over 100 Cuban teachers are set to return to the classrooms next week under a new hiring framework adopted by the government following U.S. concerns about previous recruitment deals. Education Director Dominique McCartney Russell stated that the teachers will resume their active contracts, while some will not return due to expired contracts. She emphasized that the importance of these educators amid ongoing shortages in various subjects, noting their support is crucial for providing opportunities for students. Despite early uncertainties among the teachers, McCartney Russell anticipates their return. The government restructured its Cuban recruitment system after U.S. warnings that the prior model resembled forced labor, as leaked documents reveal that the Cuban government retained most of the salaries paid by the Bahamas. U.S. officials cautioned that the involvement in the scheme could result in visa sanctions for Bahamian officials and their families. In June, Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville announced that future Cuban professionals would be hired directly by the government rather than through intermediaries. Recruitment trips to Cuba have since been cancelled, with officials also turning to the United States, Canada, and retired Bahamian teachers to help close the gap. McCartney Russell noted that 6 additional Cuban teachers were shortlisted at the ministry's job fair, but there is still a shortfall of 30 to 35 teachers. Vacancies include 8 language arts, 7 technical studies, 7 performing arts, 6 early childhood, 3 physical education, and 6 health and family life teachers. Belinda Wilson, president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, criticized the ministry for canceling Cuban recruitment trips without consulting the union. Currently, 130 Cuban teachers are employed in Bahamian schools. And finally, with some international news, the Trump administration announced on Thursday that it is reviewing the immigration status of more than 55 million people who hold valid U.S. visas for any potential violations that could lead to deportation, part of a growing crackdown on foreigners permitted to be in the United States. In a written answer to a question from the Associated Press, the State Department said that all U.S. visa holders, which can include tourists from many countries, are subject to continuous vetting, with an eye toward any indication they could be ineligible for permission to enter or stay in the United States. If such information is found, the visa will be revoked, and if the visa holder is in the United States, they will be subject to deportation. Since President Trump took office, his administration has prioritized deporting migrants illegally in the U.S. and holders of student and visitor exchange visas. The State Department's new language indicates that the vetting process is more extensive and could lead to abrupt revocation of permissions for those originally approved to be in the U.S. Thank you for watching. I'm Antonio Day. Do have a great weekend and be safe. Goodbye for now.